Hello, grade 9. How are you today? I hope you're doing fine. So finally, we are going to move on in our topic, okay? We are going to talk about each system in our body. It starts with the reproductive system. Today's video lesson is about the reproductive system, but to be more specific, we are going to talk about puberty, okay? This is a really important topic, and I guess it interests you a lot, right? So let's go. So the reproductive system is important for what? Reproduction, right? Sexual reproduction. So this ensures the survival of all the species. So this is a key in the survival of the species. And it requires the participation of two individuals, male and female. Okay, in some species, we can also have some reproduction that are not sexual, but we are not covering in this lesson, okay? So here we are gonna focus in sexual reproduction, where I need two individuals, the male and the female. And as we talked before, they produce the gametes that have the half number of the chromosomes. When they meet together, they're gonna have the full set of chromosomes. So let's see how it works. Sexual reproduction, we need to have a fertilization of an ovum or the egg of the mother, the woman, right? So this fertilization by a spermatozoa or the gamete, the sperm of the male. Both of them are haploid. Do you guys remember what means haploid? Haploid means they have the half number of chromosomes. So when I say a cell is haploid, it means instead of the full set, I have half number of chromosomes. So here in this picture, we can see the egg or the ovum of the woman has 23 chromosomes, not 23 pairs, 23 single chromosomes. And the sperm has also 23 chromosomes. When the fertilization takes place, I'm gonna have 46 chromosomes. So they bind together, forming 46 chromosomes or 23 pairs. Now I'm talking about pairs, but when I talk about egg or sperm, I'm not talking about pairs. I'm talking about single chromosomes. And when I have the fertilization, the first cell I form is the zygote. So the zygote, we were all a zygote before, okay? So zygote is the name of the cell when it's just fertilized. So it's the first cell of everybody. And when the cell multiplies by, what's the process of multiplication? Mitosis. So when the cells do perform mitosis over and over, it's gonna increase the number of cells, creating an embryo. So the embryo also have 46 chromosomes in 23 pairs, and it's like that until you are adult, until you're during your whole life. You're gonna have 46 chromosomes in every single cell in your body. Okay. So, what's fertilization? Fertilization results in a diploid cell, or called zygote, made up of 23 pairs of chromosomes, okay? So fertilization, what's fertilization? Is the fusion of an ovum or egg and a spermatozoa or sperm. So here I have a spermatozoa and an ovum. Both of them are haploid. What does that mean again? They have half number of chromosomes. And this results in a zygote. The zygote is a diploid cell. Why I say it's a diploid cell? Because it has the double number of chromosomes, or they have all the chromosomes. So zygote contains genetic material of both father and mother. So they have the complete set of chromosomes. That's why I say it is diploid. So just to summarize, the spermatozoon or the sperm and the egg or the ovum of the woman, both of them are haploid. Why they are haploid? Because they have the half number of chromosomes. When they fusion together, they form a zygote. The zygote has the double number of chromosomes because it's the junction of the egg with the spermatozoon chromosomes. So I have the full set. I mean a diploid cell. Okay, so after fertilization, what happens? The woman will get pregnant, right? Okay, when they get pregnant, I have different stages of development, and each stage has its own name, okay? So biology is all about names. So let's learn the names of the stage during pregnancy. The first stage is zygote. So we call it zygote until it has 2 weeks. So let's say a woman gets pregnant today. In 2 weeks, what she has inside is gonna be called zygote. Okay, it's gonna multiply the cells, but still we call it zygote. After that, we start to see a little baby like that. Then we call embryo. So from 2 to 9 weeks, I call it embryo. Okay, so the first stage is zygote up to 2 weeks of fertilization, and from 2 weeks to 9 weeks, I call it embryo. After that, we can see a more like a visible baby, and I call it fetus. And fetus, I call it from 9 weeks until birth. Okay, so these are the 3 main phases that we call during pregnancy: zygote since the fertilization until 2 weeks, embryo from 2 weeks to 9 weeks, fetus from 9 weeks until the birth. And then during the birth, I have a baby, and I call it baby until it has 2 years, but this is after birth. Okay, so I have the stages of human development during pregnancy and after pregnancy. During pregnancy is zygote, embryo, and fetus. Okay, and now we're gonna see about after pregnancy. So after birth, what's the first one? I just told you, baby, and baby is from birth until 2 years. Okay, so if you have a small brother, a small sister, until it has 2 years, we call it baby. Then I have the child, but I have 2 stages in childhood. The first stage I call early childhood. So it's like the first childhood. The early childhood comes from 2 years to 6 years. So basically are the kids from pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade. Okay, so these kids we call early childhood. After that, I call it childhood. And then childhood, we call it from 6 to 10 years. Okay, so this is I'm using the reference from your book, but some others may tell you that the childhood is up to 12 years. Okay, so here I'm using the reference from your book. That's why I'm follow this reference. Okay, so childhood from 6 to 10 years. After that, it's what you are now, what you are, adolescent, right? So from 10 years to 18 years. So that's where you are right now. After that, what's gonna be adulthood? Okay, so adulthood we call it from 18 to 70 years old. And after that, we have the last one is the old age. Old age is from 70 years until that. Okay, so it starts with birth and of course finish with death. These are the stages after birth. What are they? Let's recall. Baby, from birth to 2 years. Early childhood, from 2 to 6 years. Childhood, from 6 to 10 years. Then adolescence, from 10 to 18 years. Adulthood, from 18 to 70 years. And old age, from 70 years until death. Okay? Pretty easy, right? Okay, let's move. In the adolescent age, from 10 to 18 years, it's a very, like, can I say, there is a lot of transformation in your body, okay? And then we call it puberty. So adolescence is the stage of development that makes a turning point between childhood and adulthood. So it's like the middle, it's between the childhood and adulthood. And it's when your reproductive system becomes functional. So in this age, your reproductive system will start working. And it's particularly important parts of development because it includes puberty. Okay, so we're gonna talk about puberty in the following slides. So puberty happens during adolescence. Okay, and what's puberty? So puberty is the change that prepare the human body for the ability to reproduce. Okay, so puberty is really important to prepare your body to reproduce. It's not from like from one day to another. It requires some preparation. That's why it's a little trick sometimes. And generally occurs between the age of 10 and 14 years old. Okay, so this puberty is usually from 10 to 14 years old. And this progressive increase of the production of hormones. So we are gonna feel a lot of production of hormones in your body that makes all the change. That's why sometimes it's a little frustrating, it's a little you don't understand because it's a lot of change, okay? So, and this is different from for girls and boys, of course. And in the next video, I'm gonna focus just in each separate because they are so different, so we're gonna study them separately, okay? So hormones is like a guide all your body. Hormones comes from the Greek word hormone that means excites, arouse, okay? So it makes all the changes in your body, and you have hormones all over your body. Hormones are chemical substance, so it's chemical, secreted by a special organ called gland. So, and you have different glands in your body. And when these glands release these hormones, it's released into the bloodstream and then travels to your body to the specific part. And then when it reaches the specific part, it stimulates the activity of specific organs or tissues as you are in the body. So when the gland produces these hormones will be released into the bloodstreams, and it's gonna travel through your body until reach the specific organ or tissues where it needs to work, okay? And it's produced by a system that we call endocrine system. Okay, we're gonna be more specific when we are gonna study the endocrine system, but for now, just be aware that hormones are produced by endocrine system. And there is some differences, but a lot of similarities as well. Endocrine system is responsible for body growth. So you grow because your body is producing the hormones of growth. The ability to respond to stress. So when you are too stressed, your body releases some hormones as well. It responds for reproduction and regulation of metabolic process as well. So endocrine system there is a lot of responsibilities, okay? But now we are gonna focus on the reproduction. Just be aware they have other goals as well. So talking about puberty specifically, what are the hormones in puberty? So puberty is triggered by hormones secreted by a specific gland called Pituitary gland. This gland is the size of a grape, so it's very small, located at the base of your brain. So let's see a picture. So here is your pituitary gland. It's very small, so the size of a grape, and it's located at the base of the brain. So the hormones of puberty, it's secreted by this gland. What's the name of the gland? Pituitary, pituitary, pituitary gland. Okay. And what are the hormones it secretes? Secretes two hormones, FSH or follicle stimulating hormone and LH luteinizing hormone. So what happens? The pituitary gland, the gland in your brain, releases these two hormones during the puberty, FSH and LH. What they do? So it depends. If you're a woman, it's gonna do one effect. If you're a man, another effect. So let's see for human. For human, FSH and LH, it release and reach the ovaries, and the ovaries stimulate maturation of ova, and also stimulate the production of female sex hormones. So the FSH and LH in women is going to stimulate the maturation of the eggs, and also is going to stimulate the production of other hormones in the ovaries. And in men, it has testicles, so it's gonna act in the testicles. So what's gonna stimulate the production of spermatozoa, of the sperm, and also the production of male sex hormones. Okay, so your brains have the pituitary gland, and it's gonna liberate FSH and LH, and these two hormones will act in ovaries if you are a woman, or in testicles if you are a man. Okay. So in the human, this ovarian stimulation, remember, it stimulates the production of female sex hormones. So what are the name of the female sex hormones? Estrogens and progesterone. Okay, so these are the two hormones that ovaries liberate. And in men is testosterone. Okay, very known from you, I believe. What these hormones is gonna do now? In the organism, they are gonna make the primary characteristics, sexual characteristics to develop. So the organism is gonna make the primary sexual characteristics to develop, and also to appear the secondary sexual characteristics. Okay, I'm gonna talk this in the next slide. But just to summarize what we talk here, your brain has a gland that's called pituitary gland. Which hormones this gland secretes? FSH and LH. What these hormones does? If it's a girl, it's going to stimulate the ovaries. Okay, so it's going to stimulate the ovaries. And if you are a boy, it's going to stimulate the testicles. In the ovaries, it's going to stimulate the production, the maturation of the eggs, and also it's going to produce the female sex hormones. What are the female sex hormones? Estrogen and progesterone. What they're going to do? They're going to develop the primary and secondary sexual characteristics in the girl. And in the man, it's going to act in the testicles. What's going to stimulate? The production of spermatozoa, and stimulate the production of male sex hormones. What is the male sex hormones? Testosterone. And this testosterone will also stimulate the development of primary and secondary sexual characteristics in the man. Okay? So let's talk about this primary and secondary. Let's see for girls first, because they are different, girls and boys. For girls, what are the hormones secreted by the pituitary gland? FSH and LH, so it's the same for both. What's going to stimulate? It's going to stimulate the primary sexual characteristics. What are the primary sexual characteristics? Is the characteristics that involves the ovary itself. Okay, so it's going to act direct in the ovary. What's going to happen? The menstrual cycle begins and the genital organs mature. Okay, so the primary sexual characteristic is basically it starts when you first get your period or your menstrual cycle begins, and also mature your genital organs. This primary sexual characteristics. After your primary sexual characteristics, it's gonna liberate the female sex hormones. What are they? Estrogen and progesterone. What this hormone is gonna do? It's gonna develop the secondary sexual characteristics. What are they? Then there is some psychological change, because you are not you stop thinking like a child. You're gonna think like a woman now. So some psychological change. Underarm hair. So you're gonna have hair under, you don't like, but it's gonna have. Breasts develop. So you're preparing your body to get a child, right, in the future. The pelvis widens, so also for you to get birth, to deliver a baby. Pubic hair, pubic hair appears, and fatty tissue accumulates, mainly on hips and breasts. We women, we hate this, right? Because we don't like fat tissue to accumulate. And now, after that, that's why we get weight faster and easily, because it's like evolutively, it's good for you. It's good for you. If you have this fat tissue, it means you have more reserve when you are get pregnant and you are producing a baby. Okay, so evolutively, it's important. But I know we don't like it, but what can we do, right? So the only thing we can do is avoid to eat junk food and to exercise and everything. Okay, so for girls, primary sexual characteristics, it starts when the menstrual cycle begins, and it makes the genital organs too mature, or the ovaries too mature. And it also liberates the female sex hormones. What are they? Estrogen and progesterone. When these hormones are liberated, we develop the secondary sexual characteristics. What are they? Psychological changes, underarm hair, breasts develop, the pelvis that widens, the pubic hair, the fat tissue that accumulates on hips and breasts. So, for teenage girls, it's marked by the maturation of the genital organs, beginning of the menstrual cycle, and appearance of secondary sexual characters. Let's see for boys now. What's gonna happen for boys? The same hormones are liberated, FSH and LH, so it's the same from the pituitary gland. What's gonna develop? It's gonna develop the testicles. Of course, men don't have ovaries, he has testicles. And the genital organs appear. So these are the primary sexual characteristics. And this liberates the hormones. That's what are they? Testosterone. And this is gonna develop the secondary characteristics. What are they? What are the secondary sexual characteristics? Also, psychological changes occur. In the man, it's gonna be facial hair, beard and mustache, larynx enlarges, and your voice become deeper. And you also develop the skeletal muscle and the bone density. Underarm hair also appears, and hairness generally increases. So where you didn't have hair before, you're gonna start to show up hair now. and also pubic hair appears, just like for women. Okay, so for men, what's primary sexual testicles characteristics? The development of testicles, the genital organs. It liberates the testosterone, and this testosterone is going to develop the secondary sexual characteristics. What are they? Psychological change, facial hair, larynx, make your voice being deeper, the skeletal muscles, the bone density, the underarm hair, the hairness generally increase, so you have more hair in your body, and pubic hair as well. So for men, is marked by the maturation of the genital organs and the appearance of secondary sexual characters. Okay? So this is basically what I would like to talk about puberty. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any question, please let me know, okay? And thank you so much for watching, and please answer the questions in the form. Thank you so much, guys.